All right, let's just jump right in. Think about it for a second. When you look up at the night sky, you're staring into a universe that is just mind-bogglingly huge. I mean, our galaxy alone, it has hundreds of billions of stars, and there are hundreds of billions of other galaxies out there. The scale, it's just something you can't really get your head around. And it's not just that it's big, right? It's ancient. We're talking 13.8 billion years old. That is a ton of time for life to get its act together and evolve. So you start doing the math. You've got trillions of planets that could probably support life. Billions of years for civilizations to pop up. Our galaxy should be packed. It should sound like a cosmic city, buzzing with signals, ships zipping around everywhere.
But what do we hear? Nothing. Absolute, deafening, cosmic silence. And this isn't a new question. The physicist Enrico Fermi famously asked it over lunch way back in 1950. This huge, glaring gap between how common life should be and the fact that we see absolutely zero evidence for it. Well, that's what we call the Fermi paradox.
So what gives? How do we explain this great silence? Well, there's one explanation that's, it's pretty compelling, but also kind of chilling. It's this idea of a sort of cosmic gatekeeper. It's called the Great Filter. The economist Robin Hanson came up with it. And the idea is pretty simple but powerful. Somewhere along that super long road from, space dust to a galaxy-spanning empire, there's a step, a hurdle. And this step is so incredibly hard, so unlikely, that almost nobody gets past it. It's like a wall that just filters out almost all life before it ever gets a chance to phone home. And look, this journey from goo to galactic civilization, it's not just one big jump. It's a whole series of really, really tough steps. You gotta have the right star system to begin with. Then you need molecules that can actually reproduce. Then simple life, then complex life. Then finally, smart, tool-using creatures like us. The Great Filter? It could be any one of those steps. Which, of course, leads to the absolute biggest question in this whole thing. For us, for humanity. Where is the filter? Is it in our rearview mirror? Some impossible hurdle that we somehow miraculously already passed? Or is it waiting for us up ahead, like a final boss we haven't even gotten to yet? The answer? Well, it changes absolutely everything. So we're left with two possibilities, and honestly, they couldn't be more different. Option one, the Great Filter is behind us. That means we're special, we're rare, maybe even the only ones to ever make it this far in the whole galaxy. Option two, the filter is ahead of us, and that means life gets to where we are all the time, but something awful always stops it from going any further. Okay, let's talk about the good news first. Scenario A, the filter is behind us. What if we're the lucky ones? What if we've already run the gauntlet and made it through against all the odds? So if the filter is in our past, what was it? Well, a really good candidate is the very beginning of life itself, what scientists call abiogenesis. Going from a bunch of non-living chemicals to an actual living thing. We still have no idea how that happened. We've never been able to do it in a lab. Or what about the jump from simple little cells, prokaryotes, to the complex ones that make up you, me, and every plant and animal? On Earth, that step took almost 2 billion years. That's a massive gap in our history. Maybe that was the super improbable step that we just happened to get right. But now we have to look at the other side of that coin. The much scarier possibility. What if the worst is still ahead of us? What if we're not special at all? We're just next? And this is really the terrifying heart of this whole filter is ahead idea. The thought that any civilization that gets smart enough naturally invents its own self-destruct button. You create these incredibly powerful technologies, right? Things like nuclear weapons or advanced AI or designer plagues, and you don't have the wisdom to control them. Your own cleverness, the very thing that got you this far, becomes the thing that takes you out. And there are so many ways this could go wrong. The philosopher Nick Bostrom actually broke them down into categories. You've got your bangs. Those are the quick, sudden disasters we all imagine, like all-out nuclear war or an AI that goes rogue. But then there are things like crunches, where society just kind of fizzles out. It stagnates, runs out of resources, and just stops progressing. Or shrieks, where we turn into some kind of permanent global dystopia. The point is, there are a lot of ways to screw this up. And the scary part is, when you look around today, the top candidates for our great filter, they aren't science fiction anymore, are they? They're right there in the news every single day. Nuclear war, AI that we can't control, pandemics engineered in a lab, climate collapse that we can't reverse. It's a pretty sobering list, and it's all stuff we're dealing with right now.
And look, this isn't just some fringe theory cooked up on the internet. This quote here, it's from a statement signed by hundreds of the top AI researchers and CEOs in the world. They are putting the risk from AI right up there with pandemics and nuclear war. They're telling us, loud and clear, this could be it. This could be the filter.
Okay, so this brings us to one last idea, and it's a real mind-bender. It's completely counterintuitive. Because it turns out that with the Great Filter, the best news we could possibly get might actually be the worst news imaginable. Let me walk you through it. Just imagine for a second. You wake up tomorrow and you see the headlines. We've found life on Mars. A rover has drilled down and found absolute proof of alien microbes, living or dead. It would be the biggest discovery in human history, right? Everyone would be celebrating. But if the logic of the Great Filter is correct, that discovery would be an absolute disaster.
Why? How could that be bad news?
Well, because if we find even simple, dead bacteria on Mars, it means that life starting up isn't some super rare miracle. It happened twice, right here in our own backyard. And if that step, the origin of life, isn't the Great Filter, then it makes it way, way more likely that the real filter, the big one, is still waiting for us.
And what if we found something even more complex, like fossils of little Martian animals? That would be even worse, just absolutely terrifying, because that would mean that not only is life common, but complex life is common too. And if that's true, it pretty much screams that the Great Filter, the thing that stops civilizations from making it big, is almost certainly still to come.
Nick Bostrom, he really nails this chilling logic. He said that finding life on Mars would be, quote, by far the worst news ever printed on a newspaper cover. Think about that. What looks like our greatest triumph would actually be a death sentence. It would be a sign that our story is probably going to end the same way, in failure, just like every other civilization that came before us. So paradoxically, that empty, silent night sky, that might be the best news we've ever had. It might be golden. Because if we really are all alone, it means we did it. We beat the odds. We passed some nearly impossible test to get here. It means the Great Filter is behind us, and our future is a blank page, a vast open cosmic frontier for the taking.
And that just leaves us with this one final heavy thought. If we are the first ones, if all of this cosmic intelligence is bundled up right here with us, what is our responsibility? It means the future of conscious thought in this entire galaxy rests squarely on our shoulders. And that is a truly staggering.
You know, in the end, it really comes down to that famous quote from Arthur C. Clarke. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Being alone is a terrifying thought. But the idea that we're not alone, because the universe is just a giant graveyard of civilizations that didn't make it and we're just waiting our turn, maybe that's even worse. For now, the silence is all we have, and we're left to wonder, which one is it?